Hello everyone, Watch This Review here with a look at Spider-Man 2099 from, I guess it's Hasbro's Marvel Legends line, or Spider-Man Legends line, I don't know what they call it anymore. They even have this little Infinite Series thing here. But this is the Hobgoblin wave, was it Phil Ulrich wave? Yeah. At any rate, regular viewers of the channel, I say regular viewers, but I haven't been regularly posting videos, so I'm not sure if I have regular viewers anymore, but those who've been around a while know that I'm a massive Spider-Man 2099 fan. Absolutely love the character, got into him during the 90s, back at a time when, I was young, didn't have any regular income, so I sort of wasn't getting a ton of comics. Now, for some reason, probably because the 2099 series sort of bombed, a lot of those comics were available in the bargain bin, so I was picking up issues for things like 25 cents, 50 cents an issue, so I got most of these Spider-Man 2099 run that way. Some of the Doom ones. Ravage I don't think I ever saw. Also, X-Men didn't really see in that bargain bin. I guess X-Men must have been a better selling title. But, which is hard to believe that X-Men and all these other titles would sell better than Spider-Man, given that Spider-Man's always been like one of the biggest Marvel characters. Of course, X-Men as well, but yeah. Spider-Man 2099, awesome character, awesome power set. This is Miguel O'Hara, who received his powers while trying to break a drug addiction, which he didn't really have. Because in the distant future of 2099, I guess corporations have taken over, so it's kind of like today, if you listen to some people, and as one way of ensuring loyalty, which companies don't really give a dick about their don't give a shit about their employees nowadays. So this does seem a little far-fetched, but they were creating designer drugs, getting their employees hooked on them, so they would stay with the company. So Spider-Man wanted to kick a dependency on, I forget what it was called, but he had this experiment. It went wrong because his coworker sabotaged the thing. And of course, later on, we learned that he was never given the real drug in the first place, so this is all sort of a non-issue. So he got his powers for no reason, but he got super strength. He sort of has flight because of his costume and that web gliding. So, and then of course he has spinnerets in his forearms, so he doesn't need to actually make the stuff himself. Instead of having the usual little, I guess, filaments or something in his hands, his fingers can turn into talons, so do his toes. So that's also a weapon. He ends up slitting one guy's throat by accident. And then, of course, his teeth have fangs in them which can secrete venom, which is a very cool ability. I think he used it like twice during the entire thing. Once to disable some giant, I forget what the heck it was, then I can't remember the second time, but very cool character. Unfortunately, the 2099 lines sort of went by the wayside, and for a good many years, like, nothing happened with him. Thankfully, though, the video game sort of rekindled interest in it, and we have been seeing a bit of merch. First off, he appeared in the Marvel Universe line. But so far, every Spider-Man 2099 figure we've had has had one of several problems. Either it's been missing the little spikes on his forearms. Sometimes it's been missing the web cape, like it doesn't have a plastic web cape, or it gives him a cloth web cape. Other times, like the Marvel Universe ones, sort of had the things placed in the wrong direction, so they were sort of right on his part here instead of more on the downside. But this one actually looks pretty good. The only issue I have is the torso looks kind of long, but we'll get into that more once I actually take him out of box and review him. I'm not sure if he'll pick up the whole wave yet, but we will cross that bridge when we get to it. And yes, I know I've been talking just about the package, or not really about the package, the past 4 minutes. Yeah, 1 second. Spidey 2099 comes with the Flaming Sword of Fire. It's a Crodman Dune reference for all 2 people who actually watch that. As well as the right arm of the Hobgoblin. It's an okay looking arm. Not the best looking arm I've seen, not the worst. The one thing that kind of annoys me about the Hobgoblin in general is when I first saw the figure on display and stuff, I don't know, it was one of the Comic Cons in the coverage. When I was looking at stuff, I thought, this is just be a normal figure in the line. He's not that big. I mean, the articulations, doesn't even have like a bicep cut or anything here. I mean, he looked like sort of basic, and then, you know, surprise, he is a Build-A-Figure, so you'd have to get the whole wave for him, which is kind of disappointing, but it's just sort of what you have to come to expect from the Marvel Legends line at this point. They just don't do very large characters for one wave. They even have like the mini guys, where you'd buy 3 figures and you can build Rocket Raccoon, which I still haven't unboxed my Jean Grey. I was hoping to find one that didn't have messed up paint and then return the one with the messed up paint that I got from Hasbro, but... And then, of course, I didn't build the Hit Monkey either. I was missing the head. I figured I was going to wait for the Iron Fist. Then Iron Fist never got released. So at some point I've got to go back and get the other guy. Forget his protector or something. Yeah. At any rate, my copy is kind of messed up, and that's always disappointing. It's just some really sort of crap paint work on this, where, you know, they didn't add an extra layer of something for a coating to protect it, or I forget what you call that, but there's like scrapes and stuff with the arm here. I mean, if you have one, let me know if you have these similar problems, but it's just sort of unacceptable. Of course, he has a sort of marbled look for the general costume for the blue bits, so some parts are dark, some parts are light. I'm okay with that. I think it's a sort of cool look, helps give it a little more styling. My big issue, though, is the fact that he's just a flimsy little guy. I mean, it's just no weight to this figure at all, which is kind of weird considering a lot of the other figures in the line have like a good heft to them, even when they are just like smaller, more basic characters. Now, I'm sure that he reuses somebody's sculpt. I haven't picked up any of the more recent Marvel Legends because, you know, they jacked up the price yet again. It was up to 20 from 15. At 15, I was like, I don't care enough about some of these characters to get everybody. Then when they jumped up another $5, I ended up skipping the last few waves. But here he is next to Bucky Cap, confirming that no, not everything uses the Bucky Cap mold now. There are some newer sculpts, and I assume probably they belong to various Spider-Man-ish characters. You know, I am half wondering if he may or may not, if he would recycle parts from the Miles Morales Spider-Man, because that one was also small, but I think that one was even smaller than this, so that theory is probably way off base. But I think part of the reason why they tried to just get the height up a bit more, and they just tossed this extra like midsection here, so he is a bit taller, but the midsection just looks really funny, because it just goes way, way, way too long. The other issue is, I have some balancing problems because he doesn't have a little cut at the calf or anything. Like, usually when the Bucky Cap mold is used, they will have the cut, especially when they do more of like a Bucky character or a Captain America sort of character. That's always there. Even when they weren't using it for that, like Black Panther, for instance, Black Panther had it there. Oh, Black Panther is an awesome looking figure. A complete reuse of the sculpt. It was probably bland as hell, but for some reason it just came out so awesome looking. So, a lot of the really cool poses that I would love to toss him in, where he's sort of crouching close to the ground, it's not that easy because all we have is the roller, and the roller doesn't have any rotation to it. Or as they call these, ankle rockers, ankle pivots, or whatever. You'll actually notice it has a really deep going this way, but then when you try to go the other way, it doesn't really go that far at all. It's kind of weird the way that they cut the joint. But I mean, articulation-wise, very good range. He does have a really good length of head motion here. I guess just because they gave him a really elongated neck and everything. I mean, it's even better than I think was on the Bucky Cap. No, wait, Bucky Cap actually goes back quite a bit as well. But yeah, that's one of the things I never liked about the Toy Biz run. So often, like a lot of the figures, it seemed, their heads didn't go quite back as much as you'd want them to. And then when Hasbro took over, they also weren't doing that. But yeah, he can look further straight up than a lot of other figures. And I know I'm generalizing about Toy Biz, but because Toy Biz did have a few figures that they had really good head motion on, but you know, broad strokes paint a fence. Hand-wise, you'll notice that he doesn't have like the talons or anything, but they did give him a sort of more, I want to say really thin fingers, really long. They sort of come out to tips. It's not quite the same thing, but you know, it sort of has like the same general vibe. I wish they would have included like alternate hands. I know they did it for the Spider-Man for this wave, which I might pick up if I just end up getting everything, but otherwise, pretty decent looking figure. He does have the shoulder articulation, and because of the way the logo on his chest is, I want to say it's like a Death's Head logo or something, but he got it from he just took like an old Mardi Gras costume or something. He just tossed it on, and that was his superhero costume, unlike Spider-Man, who I guess knit his own costume. He got a sewing machine or something. Peter Parker, very handy with a needle and thread. But he was just down there for a Mexican. No, it wasn't Mardi Gras. It was a Mexican Day of the Dead celebration. It's a costume made of unstable something fabric, unstable molecule fabric or some crap like that. So when he clawed, the claws would sort of pop out, wouldn't rip his costume or anything. Now the cape is removable. It's not much of a cape either. I was hoping it'd be like a lot larger. Oh, plus he's like in such a funky position in the package. It looks like he's sort of like popped out. But that's just because they had to accommodate the cape behind him. They're using this stupid molded plastic for it. There's only one in stock. I was debating, do I bother getting him? Do I not want to get him? Just because it looked like he could be damaged given the way he was forced out. And actually, that might have been why he got scraped and everything. But I finally just caved and picked him up because this is the only one I saw. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for this, and even if it has some issues, I'll probably buy a second down the road just in case anything ever happens to this one. Because Spider-Man 29.9s are sort of few and far between. This will probably be the only one we see for a few years. But yeah, I mean, all things considered, he's a pretty cool figure. Obviously not the greatest thing out there, but he's a huge leap above anything we got before. Even the Toy Biz's, or was it Hasbro, the Spider-Man Origins line, which had a really decent looking paint deco and stuff. I mean, that one didn't even have like ball jointed legs, so at least this one sort of got us to like most of the stuff that I would sort of want and expect to see in a Spidey 29.9, even if we don't necessarily get like 100% of the stuff. I mean, all the joints look great. He's got double pins at the ankles and elbows and everything. Just an all-around good-looking mold, decent figure. I mean, Hasbro has been bringing us better quality. They've also been recycling a lot. Neither here nor there. Some of their sculpts are looking funky, but they have been doing great stuff. So, I mean, it's not like the old days when they used to shovel out just a lot of really awful figures. I mean, these are decent quality stuff. On par with Toy Biz in many cases. Sometimes better. I mean, the new Scarlet Witch compared to the Toy Biz Scarlet Witch. I mean, come on. Oh god, that Toy Biz Scarlet Witch was so awful. But that wasn't even supposed to be released. They just did the mold and something. It came out so bad they said we aren't even going to release it in the U.S. And fans were like, "Oh, we want it in the U.S." And they finally released it in the U.S. And I was happy to have that at the time, but obviously, the new one's just so much cooler. Although even this one, there are some things I don't like, but I do need to pick that up. That's a completely different side discussion there. But as it stands, the only two figures I picked up from this wave so far are Spidey and the Spider-Woman. This is the Ultimate Comics version. I believe it's the Peter Parker clone, the female one. Not to be confused with the Venom. No, sorry, Carnage. I remember there was one that was also symbiote or something. It's all sort of a blur. I need to go back and actually finish that series. But yeah, this has been a look at the Spider-Man 2099. Pretty decent looking figure. A little undersized, but I guess Spider-Man's always been sort of a smaller dude, so the fact that he's not quite up there with a lot of the other characters in the line shouldn't be all that surprising, as long as he is larger than the females. I know for a while they were doing some of the females with a sort of larger body sculpt, so yeah, this has been a look at Spidey 2099. This review totally went long because this is the first review I have shot since maybe this year. I don't want to say this year, but I have a feeling it might be this year. But yeah, until next time, folks.